Me, this morning's post, another type of energy vampire, the guilt tripper. With the lightworker focus on love for all, it's easy for the ego to justify a guilt trip. But it's energy vampiring at its most cunning. I forgive you for what you did, and I love you always. If you truly forgave the person for what they did, do you have to flag it up to them? Do you have to mention it to them? Do you have to bring it up again? And again? And maybe even again? Do you have to take the opportunity to publicly proclaim your love for them despite the callous thing, your perception, they did to you? That's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is letting it go, not mentioning it every time you get the opportunity. Proclaiming your love for them in this way sounds more like positioning yourself above them. You did this to me, but I love you anyway. A type of martyrdom. For someone who's not aware, this can mess with their heads. Fortunately I'm aware and someone just pulled this one on me. Ivo, I was just saying I was running out of subjects to channel you on for our videos. LOL, so I was conveniently provided with one this morning as I read the comments in my group. Ivo, well, my love, we can go into different types of energy vampiring behaviors as you were thinking the other day, and this would be one such example. Me, yes, I was. It would save writing the PDF mini-book, or even we could do both. There's a lot of material for the subject of energy vampiring and I don't think people actually write about specific situations. Ivo, no, perhaps not in enough detail. In any case, yes, this is definitely a case of the ego disguising a feeling of loss or of low self-esteem. Last year, when you cleaned out your friends list and eliminated all from our group, you were attempting to stop the Matrix from attacking you. You understood, after you had the dream about the big bad wolf being at the door, that this message meant that you would be attacked on social media, and you were. You noticed how, day in and day out, people were appearing to argue with you despite the fact that until then, the group had gotten along very well and there were no interpersonal conflicts. But then suddenly everything went awry. People who you had had no dealings with at all were suddenly commenting and beginning to argue with you and others in the group. So you dismissed them from the group. But then as soon as you did that, another would begin, in succession. Me, yup. Like ducks at the shooting gallery, just waiting for me to pick them off. The minute one left, the next would start. This was the Matrix doing its dirty work, either that or a negative entity jumping from one group member to the next. I watch for it now. I've profiled the usual suspects and understand that an overbearing or a weak ego is the key to this behavior modification. If you have an overbearing ego and can be easily triggered to argue, the Matrix will use this to its advantage against someone like me who is fighting it. Ivo, and you do not tolerate dissension in the group. The group must be peaceful and attacking others is not permitted. These are good restrictions. Those with weak egos who are prone to mind manipulation will not be able to stay in the group under these conditions. Me, well, like I keep saying, our information is available everywhere online. So, guilt tripping. Ivo, absolutely, energy vampiring. Anyone who attempts to make another feel guilty is exacting revenge for a deed presumed to be damaging, and is exacting punishment, as in the case of this morning. Her comment implied that she loved you despite what you did to her, when in fact she did not empathize at all with your situation and why you were compelled to do what you did. If she had had empathy, forgiveness would have been possible. I do believe this is a case of martyring oneself here. She feels she loves you despite your perceived attack on her. She would not have perceived what you had done as an attack if she had had any empathy for your plight, and she would not have had to mention this if she had truly forgiven you. Yes, it was an energy attack, which is always what is at the heart of these types of circumstances. That is the harm that is carried out, an attack on another's energy, on their life force. And your Matrix operates this way. Me, so you could argue I perceive her comment as an attack on me then. Ivo, yes, you could. You see where her thinking is flawed and you see that she is vulnerable to Matrix thinking. Me, sometimes I think it's better to leave them in the group, but then that's clearly what the Matrix wants. They want me up to my eyeballs dealing with the distraction of personality problems, Rather than focusing on what I'm supposed to do, spread the message and help to enable lightworkers into their roles. Ivo, yes, it is best not to deal with them. You have a responsibility to the others in the group as well, my love, and perhaps they do not want to deal with this type of problem either. Me, yes. But there are other types of guilt trips. Ivo, I have said before that anytime you feel guilty that the one that is attempting to manipulate you is attempting to keep you in line with some perceived way of behavior. In other words, when someone tries to guilt trip you, as you say, they are trying to make you behave a certain way. Me, oh, maybe she wanted an apology. She didn't get one. I don't apologize for having to take care of myself. Ivo, and you should not. It is not your fault that she does not understand your dilemma. Me, so, other types of guilt trips. There's just the basic stuff. I want you to do what I want, so I'll make you feel guilty for not doing so. That was my mother. She even would say that if I did something she'd be upset. That reminds me of the show I was watching last night where the kid is totally out of control and the mother is saying, "I've had it, if you keep doing this I'm not going to be able to take it." Both the kid and the mother are manipulating each other. The mother needed to stop to teach the kid a better example. It looks like she did, credit to her. Ivo, and you went through a period in your late 20s when you were beginning to wake up to your mother's tricks. Me, I was sick of them. Ivo, you had had enough and felt you deserved better and you do. So you did not cave when she did them. She responded by becoming ill and you still saw this as her own doing. You still did not cave. And then you moved to Europe at 31 and by this time you had separated from her mentality, you did not allow yourself to be manipulated by her anymore, and you felt free. Me, yes, it was wonderful. And I did find better in Europe. I worked in offices where I wasn't sexually harassed. I was treated with more respect overall. Ivo, and you learned from these places the next stage of your lesson, in fact. You learned that people can behave respectfully. Me, I thank the people of London for giving me that amazing gift. It brings tears to my eyes. I'd had such a hard time in Niagara Falls, then moved to a place where I was treated well. Ivo, it fell in with your own development, my love, to be there and to receive this gift of being treated respectfully. Me, for me, it felt like first being treated like absolute crap to turning around and being treated like royalty. I could relax, my bulimia abated, I stopped throwing up food, I lost weight and felt like I was a whole new person. Ivo, so you understand how detrimental having toxic people around you is. Me, yes. I learned that lesson then and I still stand by it. So I'm trying to think of some other people who have tried to manipulate me with guilt. It always comes back to my mother. She was a master of disempowerment. Ivo, and this is what it is, yes. And those who are disempowered always attempt to gain power over others and this is incorrect. Eventually the others will understand that they should not give away their power to those who have no self-empowerment. Me, or like that 160s song says, you can't even run your own life, I'll be damned if you'll run mine. Ivo, yes, these things stick in your head for a reason. Often there are lines from songs that speak volumes. Me, oh yeah. There was the manipulation of giving me something, in the expectation of receiving more back. Giving to someone with strings attached, we call it. You have to be careful what you take from others because they will use it to try to control you, like money is a big one I find. Ivo, yes. But this is a control attempt we are speaking of. Me, it's an unspoken manipulation, Ivo. There's often the assumption if somebody gives you something, they're entitled to something back. It's not even spoken. Of course, I don't do that either. And I give freely. I don't expect anyone to give in return. Ivo, we shall sum this up then, whenever you feel guilty, someone is attempting to control you through manipulation. It is that simple. Do not say yes under these circumstances. Understand that you have most likely had past programming that has predisposed you to feeling guilty. Just let the feeling pass and respond in a way that you feel befits you. Do not be afraid to say no. And be aware the Matrix uses these mind manipulation tactics through others to keep you in line with its programming. You must break out of it. Free yourself. Me, I like to think of the feeling of guilt as a red light, a warning that goes off that somebody is trying to manipulate me, to get something from me they don't think they're entitled to, that someone is trying to steal my energy. The fact that I've been so trained up as a kid is a godsend now in adulthood, when I can understand it for what it is and hear the warning bell go off, my feeling of guilt. Ivo, yes, see it as a positive but do not give your power away. Me, thank you Ivo. Ivo, my love, as always, we can discuss more energy vampiring strategies. Me, okay. Thank you.